This is what 5 grand in silver looks like compared to gold. And there you go, 5 grand in silver. Now let's compare that to how 5 grand in gold looks like. Wow, big difference.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
I don't care what you say. Silver is always sexier looking. Now, I love gold, but I love the gold buffalo coins. Those 1 ounce gold buffalo coins are absolutely stunning. But there's something about silver. When you hold it, it feels real. Not that gold don't feel real, but silver, it has this allure about it. Like you're really holding on to money. Again, not saying that when you hold gold, it doesn't feel the same way. But there's just a different feeling about holding on to silver. Silver's really beautiful. And let's not forget what our good friend says about silver.
It's massively undervalued. I think it's still the most undervalued asset in the history of the world. So I tell people, if you have to invest in one thing, it's silver. I love it. I actually love silver. I even have a few little coins laying around here on my desk, and I rub them all over my body.
Nice.
Silver's so beautiful that you just want to rub it all over your body. Let's get into news for the day, shall we? So as you are aware, the Feds keep the interest rate unchanged after a 22-year high. Now, of course, that's going to affect the markets. Usually that's when you'll see things like cryptocurrencies go down and gold and silver go down and stuff like that. But let's see. Let's take a look at the market. Let's see what kind of effect it's having on it. Well, Bitcoin decided after it's not moving, people are going to take that extra money and invest it into cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin at $34,577.26. Look at Ethereum kick butt, man. They're at $1,826.56. XRP is finally at 60 cents. Solana is at $44.85. Cardano is at 29 cents, almost 30. Dogecoin trying like heck to reach 7 cents. Chainlink's at $11.13. Polygon is at 64 cents. Polkadot is at $4.54. Litecoin's at $67.99. Shiba is at 5071. Oh, what is this? XLM is now in the top 25 list. They're sitting at 12 cents. They disappeared for a little while, but it looks like they're moving up. Terra Luna Classic, the movements are so small that's not really changing anything. But as long as you're in the green, we'd like to see that. So Satama is down, not even 1% for the day, but even so, it's at 2011. They started to make a run and then drop down, and then now they're going on a slight pickup all over again. But at least Satama is making some type of move in the right direction. It was much lower than this. As a matter of fact, they had an extra zero. They have since deleted the zero, which is what we like to see. I'd like to see them delete 2 more zeros. So as you can see, Satama is going up. Gold is at $1,981.30. It's down $2 for the day. Still pretty close to that $2,000 mark. Silver is at $22.83 for the day. But will silver stay there that much longer? There's a reason why you should be asking that question. So Silver Slayer picked up on a pretty good clip from the news about silver. It's worth listening to, so let's check them out.
Our question of the day is about whether or not industrials should be in your portfolio. Let's extend that into the precious metal space. Should I be not looking at gold, but looking at those precious metals that have an industrial capability? Is that a better place to look? Should I be buying silver over gold? Should I be buying platinum, palladium? Where else within the complex should I be looking? Do I get a better return from there than I do with straight up and down gold?
Well, we're more positive on silver, platinum, and palladium than we are for gold. We're looking for higher prices in all three. In the case of silver, it has enormous applications environmentally.
Yep.
Twice as much silver in a BEV than there is in a standard ICE automobile, for instance.
Battery electric vehicle versus
versus internal combustion engine.
Gas engine. Mm-hmm.
And also the amount that's going into solar power, PV demand, very strong. Almost everything in a hospital that you go into now is coated in a thin layer of silver that you can't see, antibacterial.
Yeah.
Even flak jackets are sewn in silver. And as far as platinum and palladium go, even though we think palladium is headed into a small surplus next year, it's probably undervalued, even considering substitution with platinum. But platinum is gaining on palladium in automobiles, and there's also got wide usage environmentally as well. So that looks positive to me.
Is there enough supply of silver, as it's clearly been so expanded?
Yes, there's a great deal above ground,
Okay.
And it can be recycled, but it takes time. And silver doesn't come onto the market in recycling nearly as quickly as higher gold prices bring gold onto the market.
Sure.
So it's got to get above $25 to really increase the rhythm of recycling that we're already seeing.
I think it's going to have to be higher than that, in my opinion. The reason why people have no problems with trying to recycle gold is because the value is so high. I think you're going to have to see silver get up around $40, $50 before you start to see people finding ways to recycle it.
Strong dollar. It kind of comes back to the yield story. But
Yes.
You mentioned it right at the beginning. You talk about the headwinds. Just talk me through kind of how big a headwind the dollar is.
Well, the dollar, the inverse relationship between dollar and gold is about the steadiest relationship you'll get, going right back to the end of Bretton Woods. And when it breaks down, by the way, both the dollar and the gold tend to go higher, and that's never good. That's never good because it means everybody's looking for a safe haven asset at the same time. We saw it for a while at Ukraine. We saw it during the COVID. We saw it during the global financial crisis. I mean, our view is that dollar is going to remain firm, strong, right up to the end of 2024, which is why we think there's going to be weight on the gold price as the geopolitical thermometer maybe begins to come down a little bit.
Him claiming that the dollar and gold prices are running neck and neck at the same time, fine. If he's telling us that the U.S. dollar is going to remain strong until the end of 2024, well, then we're probably looking at another year of our opportunity to stack precious metals. Although I think he's wrong, I'm just saying, with all the wars breaking out, you have now Yemen's involved, Lebanon's involved, Egypt is threatening to get involved, Turkey has now mentioned something, Iraq's staying out of it, Iran's involved, you have all the ships over in China, you have Russia going on with Ukraine. Look, they're pushing hardcore for World War III. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to get into it, but the fact that they're pushing so hard, it means there's an opportunity for that to happen. The last thing I want to be in is the U.S. dollar. I want to be in precious metals. So this headline is interesting. It said U.S. silver stockpiles raided by Defense Department. Future energy needs depend on U.S. silver. It said the U.S. is 79% import reliant on silver, creating an urgent need to source from U.S. jurisdictions for energy, future, and national security. The thing that drives me crazy is we have silver mines here. The government has found a way to close them down. You know how they are. Everything is climate control, and therefore we got to shut them down because they're destroying the earth. I don't know what the U.S. is up to, but everything that can make us energy independent, have a stronger dollar the right way through precious metals, they tend to be blocking. So they have an agenda to try to move us into this, central bank digital currency, or they have some other agenda that they're pushing us towards. And this is why they do what they do with the energy. This is why they do what they do by closing down a lot of these mines. And then they turn around and do this. They raid our stockpile. It's happened a few times. If you come down here, you can see the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, United States Bureau of Mines, and Department of Interior stopped disclosing silver inventories 29 years ago between 1995 and 1996. We need to do an inventory on our gold and our silver. I don't believe our government. I don't trust our government. They're lying. And why have they stopped reporting these numbers? The only time you see government do something like that is when they're trying to be sneaky. And God knows our government is really bad at that. Moreover, the United States Bureau of Mines was abolished coincidentally during the same time horizon, specifically 1996. The U.S. once had a strategic stockpile of silver, much like a strategic petroleum reserves. When we wrap up this 24-week research project, you can connect all the dots and see why the U.S. must start developing more U.S.-based silver production. I agree 100%. So this new report that they put together, it said it will be plain sight and openly exhibited, whereas before all the news and data was obscure, oblique, and obfuscated. We can all draw powerful inferences guiding our investment choices. There are no coincidences with the timing of these closures and motive behind the suppressing silver usage data. This will also explain that not just the short selling of paper silver contracts creating manipulated silver commodity spot prices. Once you see the spreadsheet that they've created, and we have to figure out how to get our hands on that, these massive silver uses, we will lay out our closing argument. Defense contractors were motivated to leverage their political clout to incentivize their government allies to keep their factories' inputs as low as possible. So again, the government doing what they can to suppress the truth from the public. So these are things you have to take in consideration. This is a collusive arrangement or cartel of price fixers between top-ranking government officials, defense, and aerospace contractors. These also extend to companies that typically don't contract with the U.S. government, such as SpaceX, Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, and Virgin Galactic. All these people are going to need precious metals, especially silver. In all these cases, the gargantuan aerospace and defense enterprises, silver buyers, push for lower silver prices to maximize profits on rockets, bombs, shells, missiles, aircraft, tanks, night vision goggles, warships, satellites, nukes, submarines, torpedoes, etc. Now, do you understand the purpose for manipulating the precious metals market? Because look at the people who need them. They rather have huge profit margins than allow the public to know the truth about the true value of precious metals. Now here's the thing that's mind-blowing. If you look at the 22 final list of critical minerals, and you go down this list of all the things that are in here, some of them we know. So if you ask me, Pimpy, what are other precious metals that we should consider? You can see right here, this is a 2022 final list of critical minerals. So these are critical, and you can only anticipate them going up. You have aluminum on here, you have cobalt, graphite, lithium, magnesium, nickel, palladium, platinum, rhodium. But there's something that's missing right in here, isn't there? Where is silver? Where is gold on this list? Why aren't they on here as a scarce material? That's because they don't want to send the public rushing over and investing in those materials. It's crazy how they're not on that list, but you understand why. Silver is arguably the most critical mineral for aerospace, future energy, future cars, future tech, and national defense is why you should be investing into silver. You heard what the guy said. Silver is on everything. On everything it's being used. Right now, there's enough silver above ground that could be recycled, but it's not valuable enough for people to even try to recycle it. This is the list that I just went over, and we notice that gold and silver is not on that list. So the U.S. government's denial of silver and gold's importance in putting the country at risk. So there's a Silver Academy that's out. These are the people that are exposing the truth about precious metals, by the way. The Silver Academy is a learning project, but also a guide for investors for the public to gain perspective and application on how we are running out of silver. I am now calling this a silver crisis. We're talking about massive use of silver in rockets, bombs, shells, missiles, torpedoes, you name it, everything we need for defense right now, especially with us giving away all of our weapons to other countries. We're starting to run short on ammunition and these missiles, which means there's going to be a huge demand for precious metals very soon. However, today the focus is on satellites, which are just a tiny fraction of the entire silver use envelope, yet still an important data point. You can just look at this graph right here, the number of active satellites. It says satellites in orbit amount to 34.5 million ounces of silver and 576,000 ounces of gold beyond 2023. But this is peanuts compared to the rockets, nukes, submarines, missiles, torpedoes, jets, tanks, etc. So something to consider. Conclusion, the past year the U.S. lost its enormous privilege called the petrodollar. This petrodollar strengthened the dollar because of Saudi OPEC oil trade was denominated in U.S. dollars. All the world's countries, except those sanctioned like Iran, Venezuela, and Russia, previously have been forced to hold dollars. As a result of U.S. unwise and self-inflicted sanction wounds, BRICS deployed the gold for oil playbook that was used by Russia. The U.S. is in a war with Russia. Yes, they are. We got ground troops over there, and our government is lying about it. The U.S. is being dragged into the Palestine-Israel war. Just 3 days ago, the Biden regime delivered to Congress a $110 billion request for military aid, mostly for Israel and Ukraine, essentially daring lawmakers who opposed part of this proposal to vote against an overall package that he said will ensure American security for generations. It's a crock. They cannot account for most all the money. Less than 10% of it is going to where it's supposed to go. Minerals are the new war. This is where our story heats up. So the U.S. is over the barrel when we think critically and look at what's happening with silver import dependency. It paints a picture of dire desperation for the USA precisely because it cannot control its own energy or military destiny. Now let's look at this graph below. U.S. imports 6,500 million tons. This was a calculation for 2021. The U.S. is 79% import reliant for its silver needs. This is bad. I'm telling you, don't believe the numbers. If it goes up and down, don't panic. Hold on to your silver. Hold on to that because look, they can keep lying to people all they want. They can keep suppressing it because they know that these contractors need these precious metals to make the weapons and they can't afford for it to be really expensive because they're more worried about their shareholders. The fact that our government caters to these people like that instead of its own people should piss you off. So there you have it, why it is you should be investing in the precious metals, especially silver. Anyways, I look forward to your comments. I'll get back at you later. I'm out.